Welcome on behalf of Regional Center. My name is Gerald Calderone. I am a Consumer Services Supervisor of our transition unit here in the Santa Clarita office. Also with me, Raul Gonzalez, Adult Supervisor in the AV office, and Summer Leal, Adult Supervisor in the Chatsworth office. So all three branches are covered in this meeting. And if you are from one of those, you can respond to us as needed. Today, for our Community Learning Forum, we'll be talking about community-based adult programs. We have some wonderful guests with us, two of our vendors, Cynthia Fernandez from Easter Seals and Ricky Mackinshilvers from Pleasant View Industries. These are two of our most highly respected vendors in that deal directly with these community-based adult day programs. They're going to present after we do our introduction and regional center presentation, which will be an overview of the services, and then they'll go more in depth about what they do and what other vendors like them may also do, but specifically what they do. They're here to present their opportunities to you. All right, without further ado, let's move forward. Is there life after high school? Big question, right? Yes, well, NLA-CRC funds adult day services and supports that are structured community programs or supports that lead to integrated competitive employment. NLA-CRC offers these services to individuals who have graduated with a high school diploma and for individuals who receive a certificate of completion at age 22 or exemption is approved. So they may graduate early with that certificate of completion. If you held a diploma or a certificate of completion, you are now eligible for the following services. Adult day community-based programs. At NLA-CRC, our value is for everyone who is eligible for employment and wants employment to help that person reach that goal. There are several exciting ways to achieve this. First, community integrated employment day services, supported employment services, competitive integrated employment, and paid internship programs. And Raul is going to speak about the first of those.
Okay, the community integration programs are the community integration training, which they do social skills, they do pre-vocational skills, transportation and mobility training, money management, etc. Behavioral day programs, tailored day programs, CBAS, ATHC, medical funded, and college support. Also, as well as the Department of Rehabilitation, or also known as a DOR, to request services, contact your service coordinator or local DOR office if you're receiving Social Security benefits or if you have a ticket to work. Then you are presumed eligible for DOR services.
Good morning, everybody. Just to add, there's also vocational training offered by day programs, and they provide volunteer opportunities, supported employment such as job coaching, paid internship programs known as the PIP, competitive integrated employment known as CIE. Supported employment. Supported employment is individualized employment placement and training with support services. After identifying personal interests and skills, a job placement is created and the individual works with a job coach who assists with work tasks and learns responsibilities for task completion and work quality. Regional center vendors will assess for the employment need based on the desired job. Regional center vendors will work with you to ensure success on the job. Paid internship program. To encourage competitive integrated employment opportunities, individuals may participate in paid internships. The internships will be competitive, integrated work environments and will assist in the development of skills that will facilitate paid employment opportunities in the future.
Competitive,
Sorry.
it's okay. Competitive integrated employment. Assisting individuals with a developmental disability to be competitively employed in integrated work settings is a high priority. Competitive employment means the individuals is eligible for the same level of benefits provided to other employees, and there are opportunities for advancement that are like those for other employees who are not individuals with disabilities and who have similar positions. What to expect from NLACRC? Your service coordinator will facilitate IPP planning in regards to these types of services, assist in locating and obtaining the appropriate generic resources and regional center services for community integration and vocational training, advocate for your choice of employment, educational support, or vocational training, and monitor your progress in post-school options. Now we are going to hold the questions till the end of all of the presentations. So let me end my slideshow. And I'm going to turn it over to Ricky from Pleasant View Industries.
Hi, everybody. I'm the executive director at Pleasant View Industries, where we have been serving the Santa Clarita Valley for over 50 years. I'm going to talk with you today about the two programs we provide, which pretty much provide everything that was just covered as far as options for day supports. Let's see. So I'm the executive director here at Pleasant View. I worked with nonprofits and human services throughout my entire career. I worked in residential mental health care for children, and I was at a service coordinator in the Santa Clarita office for 11 years. During that time, I saw a lot of services that I was really impressed by, and I saw services that I thought could be done better. And so when I had an opportunity to come to a provider and develop a new program, I took everything that I saw as a service coordinator and I wanted to implement the best of all of it into the program that we were creating. So in 2018, I was brought on to develop the community integration program. And then in 2020, I was promoted to executive director. And I think that the reason I mentioned my education in psychology and marriage family therapy is because I think we really look at the whole person. We don't look at them as just a portion or just the diagnosis. We look at everything as them being a well-rounded human and us being able to offer an opportunity for them to continue to develop themselves as people. So our programs that we currently offer, the programs that we have supported the vocational success of the clients that we serve. We always, in every case, keep the client at the center of our work. Anytime we face a struggle, we always come back to what does the client need from us? What do they need in general to keep them moving forward? Through our community integration program, we offer vocational training. We also support individuals with volunteer work in their community. And then we also do offer opportunities for paid internship programs, which allows them to get the experience of working in the community in a competitive integrated environment with the hope that they are hired at the end of that internship. We also provide supported employment services where we will support individuals in doing job development, identifying what their interests are, what areas of employment they would like to engage in. And once they identify employment, we then support them with onboarding and job training to make sure that they are meeting the needs of their employer. And then after the onboarding process, we continue with ongoing job coaching and support them in attaining success in the workplace. One of the things that I wanted to sort of touch on, even though this isn't specific to Pleasant View, is the Employment First initiatives. Right now, federally and across the state, there is an initiative that everybody has the right to work, and we want to do everything that we can to support that right. And this begins at early planning. So beginning at age 16, service coordinators should be bringing up future plans for employment and supporting the team in discussing how they can be prepared to enter the workforce upon completion of their high school career, as we do with typical individuals. So hopefully the service coordinators are having that conversation and knowing that it should be happening at age 16, know that you as an individual and as a family have the right to ask for that support during those IPP meetings and IEP meetings, to create those plans and start looking toward the future. The other thing that Employment First does is it reinforces that all individuals, regardless of disability, have the right to be integrated in a work environment with individuals without disabilities. And so I think, we used to have, and Pleasant View did until last year, have a work activity program where only individuals were served here on site. But due to these changes and the desire and the need for incorporating these individuals into their communities, we closed that program and are now focusing on ensuring integration into their community. Our program coordinators evaluate each referral to determine the personal and professional goals for the prospective clients. And we identify an initial support plan that's tailored to the needs of that individual. But within every plan, we always maintain these 4 tenets: transparency, communication, community integration, and partnerships. We find that if we come back to that again and keeping the client in the main as the main focus of our supports, we find success. So just to expand on these a little bit, because I do believe that they're so significant in attaining success in whatever the individual chooses to do. The transparency, we have had experiences where families are concerned about being open and honest about maybe the behavioral issues or challenges that the individual faces, and they want to keep that away from our awareness. And I find that becomes challenging because inevitably we will see those issues. And if we know them from the get-go, we can develop a plan to support them through it. And we are more prepared to have them continue with our program, knowing the reality of the person's experience. So that two-way transparency is necessary. And so we don't just expect it from the family, we also offer transparency. We let families and we expect our clients to be honest about their experiences, whether it's to their family or whether it's to us. If they're not satisfied, we expect for them to be transparent with us and let us know that there's something that they need that we are not providing. Communication. Consistent, honest, and open communication, again, goes along with transparency. Without any lack of communication, it becomes detrimental and it actually works against success. Community engagement. Also, it allows the individuals to have a better understanding of the community and the social expectations. I know that, workplaces also need to have understanding about the disability and how that impacts the individual. But when we're looking at competitive integrated employment, most often employers want to have individuals that will be able to meet those social expectations. And then partnerships. We rely heavily on the partnerships that we have with the individual, with the family or their support team, the work sites, and local businesses, because without those partnerships, our program and our clients will not have opportunities. And so with those, we want to make sure that those partnerships, that the partners that we have are happy and satisfied with the work that we are doing from the ground up. So through our community integration program, who do we serve? There are those individuals who have completed school with a certificate of completion or have their diploma. They're individuals who need work experience. Perhaps they haven't had an opportunity to volunteer in their life, and so they have a resume that hasn't been developed enough to be attractive to a potential employer. So we will offer them support in gaining that work or that vocational experience through volunteerism. We have individuals that we serve that that say they're not ready for work. It's too much for them. It's too overwhelming. So they want to take it slow, and volunteer work allows them the ability to perform those tasks without the pressure of having employment. And then also, again, individuals who want to build their resume through volunteer work. We also support individuals who are new workers. They're the ones that haven't worked before, but maybe volunteerism isn't the thing they want. They really do just want to try to jump into the deep end of employment and get that job and start that work. And so through our paid internship program, we might be able to offer them an opportunity there. We also take individuals that have challenging work histories. Perhaps they've had a couple of jobs and they haven't been successful. And through the support that we offer them, we might be able to help them identify what hasn't worked for them in employment before and offer them tools and methods to get through those challenges in work experiences that will help lead them to success in employment. And then we have individuals that maybe need to fine tune their vocational skills. So before our CIP program was created, we had our work activity program on site and we had supported employment. But in looking back at it, what we found was we were putting people into supported employment that weren't quite ready. They needed to fine tune some of those skills a little bit to make their success really take off in employment. And the CIP program, when it came on, we identified that is doing exactly what it is that those individuals needed. They don't need years worth of support. They need a little bit of support, time limited, to help them fine tune those skills and get them out into a competitive integrated workplace. And we also, in our community integration program, offer supports for retired workers. We know that there are a lot of individuals who want to keep working, and they're in their 60s and 70s and, some of them into their late 70s, and they still want to keep working. They feel they're not ready to sit at home and just do crossword puzzles. And so what we did was we brought in some of our clients that were at our work activity program when that program ended, that were of retiree age and were ready to sort of go into the next stage of their life. And so we support individuals who want to stay engaged and active and doing lots of things and being productive, but the work environment is too fast paced for them. So they take it a little bit easy, but they're not sitting at home doing nothing. So we've found that our retiree program is actually, really meeting the needs of some of our older individuals. And so here's just kind of an overview of what it looks like when we take on a consumer or a client into our program. We'll look at volunteerism. In most cases, our individuals that we take into our program, that is more often than not, the key part of the supports that we provide is connecting them with volunteer opportunities as a way to gain those skills, build their resume, and also create skills that are generalizable to the workplace. We also support them in engaging in their community. When we go out and we engage in volunteerism, or we go to locations in the Santa Clarita Valley, they're creating those relationships, and those relationships are what will support them in workplace opportunities in the future. So doing different activities, both social and personal, helps them build relationships. Stamina is a big issue. They're coming out of high school. They're used to sitting in a desk for X number of hours a day. And when we expect for them to be sort of on the go in a work environment for 4 to 6 hours, maybe even 8 hours, that is a little overwhelming for their systems. And so when we bring them on, building stamina is a key part, and helping them sort of manage their energy levels through the day. And we also obviously help them develop, skills that are important for work, and, and including self-advocacy. The trial work opportunities, that is, if they've expressed an interest in working in a specific area of work, we might approach an employer and say, can we have them come and look and see what the work is like? That gives them an idea of whether they really truly do want to work in that environment. And then we offer paid internships. Through the paid internship, there's an ongoing evaluation of those skills. We get feedback from the worksite about the performance of the individual. We provide feedback to the individual about how things are going, as well as getting the client's feedback about the work that they're doing. And with all of that, we help them sort of create a plan for what they want at the end of that internship. Sometimes they want to continue and pursue employment with that work site. Sometimes, and we have had this happen, at the end of an internship, I have had an individual twice, same individual, 2 times, 2 internships, and he was offered a job at the end and he declined the job twice because it wasn't what he wanted to do. And that was okay. And we supported that with him because, even though the work site was like, oh my gosh, this guy is amazing, at the end of it, he said, it's not really what I want to do. And I don't really see myself doing this going forward. And that is perfectly okay. And I tell employers that as well, and work sites that, because I want them to be prepared. They're not obligated to take your job offer either. So it's just like a competitive, regular application process and accepting process. And it plays for both ways, to the employer and the potential employee. Through our supported employment program, who do we serve? We serve those that have had some work experience. They've had volunteerism experience, something that shows that they can show up every day as they're scheduled, and follow, basic directions, perform to, given time to develop, their knowledge of the position, but that they can do most of it from day one with supports. We also support those who have a desire to work. One of the things that we've found is that we have families who want their loved one to work, and we have clients who say, but I don't want to. And if we try to force somebody who does not want to work to get a job, it will not work. They will not be successful. It will fail. And so what we need to do is support the individual in identifying the benefits of work, help them be responsible for some of their bills and know that they have to contribute, their fun things that they like to do, going to the movies. Well, if you worked and you had, expendable income, you could go to the movies once a week. Maybe that's what gets that guy going. But it always comes back to a desire to work. And if that desire is not there, we don't want to push them into it. And then the last piece, and there is an asterisk on this one, the individual has to be able to perform tasks independently for the most part in their personal life and can self-direct. But the asterisk on that is there are individuals that are not able to do that who can still work. It's just that our program isn't the program for them. They need a different type of support. The supported employment program might not be, but perhaps our tailored day service could meet those expectations because it could provide supports for a longer period of time, and allow the individual to work, but provide some of that support, moving between tasks through their day. One of the things I wanted to review was what our services are and what they're not, because in talking with families, sometimes they don't quite get the full picture of the services that we offer when they're meeting with their service coordinators. So if we review CIP, the Community Integration Program, it is designed for skill development. And we are always reinforcing to the clients and the instructors that even the smallest of situations is a learning opportunity. And we are constantly providing that feedback to the client, so that they know this is why we're talking about this. This is why we're explaining this to you, because this could come up in the future and work. CIP is not a babysitting or respite program. The skill development has to be present. It has to be there for it to be beneficial for anybody. CIP will not engage in mall therapy. So I will say, as a service coordinator, it was one of my biggest pet peeves was, going by the mall and seeing bunches of, clients with their staff sitting at tables, not really doing much, just sitting there staring off into space. And so I made that an absolute no-no in our program. If they go there, they have to have an intention and a purpose. And if they can support it with, reasoning around that intention and purpose, then we're good. But we won't do that. It has no intention if you're just sitting there. The internships, we find that sometimes individuals will get into internships and go, well, it's okay if I don't go today. It's not a big deal. It's just an internship. No, an internship is a job. It is paid. You are paid to come. You are paid to do the work. And so it is a real job, and you're expected to treat it as such. So if you have to put in 2 weeks for a time off to go to the doctor, then you have to do that. It's not, you just don't show up. CIP will also help individuals learn to manage the impact of the disability with support, not deny that the impact is there. So we find that if we can support the individual in understanding how the disability impacts them, and we can help them communicate that to employers, this is what I need to be able to do my job really well, they're going to come out of that program ready and prepared to communicate with a potential employer in the future. With our supported employment program, supported employment is not a service for individuals or is for people who want the service. So the job coaching, we're not a job agency. So we've had people call that say, oh, we just need you to help him get a job. Well, that is for a job agency. Go to an employment agency. That's what they do. We do supports, and we work with the individual and identify what accommodations they might need. Sometimes most of the time it's job coaching. That's it. That's the only accommodation that they might need to support them in success in their employment. And so we always come back to we're a service. We're not a job agency. And if at the end of your onboarding, you don't think you want job coaching, that's okay. Then we're still probably not the agency for you, because what we have to keep in mind is that we're connecting you with an employer. And ultimately, if that doesn't work because you've denied or refused job coaching when perhaps you needed it, then that relationship with that employer could be damaged or tarnished, because they might not want to work with us in the future or hire any other clients with disabilities. If we find somebody does not need job coaching after we start the process and we provide feedback and we say, you know what, this guy's got it, they don't need us, we will inform the service coordinator and say, they're good to go. They don't need us anymore. And we step out and they keep going, and we make sure everybody knows we're available if anything comes up in the future. So it is not to say that we require them to have ongoing coaching forever. It is only to make sure that the onboarding process has gone smoothly, and that going forward for a couple of months, things are doing well. Supported employment is an advocate and support system for the employee, but also a partner with the employer. Again, for the same reason as I mentioned before, we want the employer to know that we support them as well. Our goal is to help the individual keep their job, but if things aren't going well, we also won't lie to the employer and say, no, I don't know what you're imagining things. It's fine. It's perfect. That's not going to work. They're going to see the issues. And so our best thing is to go in and support the individual. Let's work on this. Let's figure out how we can support you in meeting the expectations of this employer. Because in the end, with that, everybody is going to be satisfied. Job coaching is an accommodation for the employee client. Employee clients are expected to meet the expectations of the position with supports. One of the things that an experience that we had recently was an employee who had been employed with his work site for 10 years, has been leaving his shift early consistently for like 5 months, every day leaving 2 minutes early. No other employee does that. No other employee is allowed to do that. Why were they allowing him to do that? And in the process of doing that, he was missing sweeps, which is a requirement of the job. And so the father came in and said, well, but he's disabled. Yes, he is disabled. He also knows the expectations of the job, and he knows that he needs to do his sweeps. And if he chooses to leave and he's not doing the sweeps, it's still an obligation for him to do that. And so we had to remind the employer, the father, that the job expectations remain regardless of whether they have a disability. And our job is to figure out what we need to do to help the client understand that they have to meet those expectations and identify tools for them to do so. So for this client, it was just explaining to him, hey, when you leave early, you miss the sweeps. And when you miss the sweeps, you end up getting written up because that's your responsibility. They've identified you as the person to do that sweep that day. And he said, oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, that was all it needed. So it's important for everybody to understand that the job expectations still remain. What you can do today to be prepared. I think this part is huge. For the community integration program, families, and I will admit that I am guilty of this myself. We like to do things for our kids. We like to help them out and schedule that doctor's appointment and that dentist appointment and just make it happen. But the best thing we can do to get them prepared for work is to make them make those phone calls. Make them schedule their own doctor's appointment and dental appointment. Have them order their own food. I know they always get the mac and cheese, but don't order it for them. Make them order it. They have to get used to communicating with individuals outside of their family. Practice self-advocacy. Encourage them to share with you what they like and what they don't like, and support when they don't like it. It's okay. And also having good hygiene. Hygiene continues to be one of the biggest challenges that we face in preparing somebody for the workplace. And so we support that, we reinforce it, but it has to be reinforced at home from a young age, that they have to have good hygiene in order to, be successful in relationship building and in the community. Engage in vocational skill development at home, do chores, learn to sweep, wash dishes, wipe the table, do your laundry, develop routines. All of these things will help prepare you for work. I will share, we had an individual that in a work site wanted him to start an internship, but he couldn't sweep. And when he did, it took him an hour to sweep something that should take 15 minutes. And that was a make or break it for the employer. It couldn't take an hour. It has to take less time. So we worked with him, but he'd never been asked to sweep before. So he didn't know what to do. So the more that we can ask our family members and our children or the individual to do at home, the better prepared they will be to do at work. Learn to follow instructions. Everyone who works has to follow instructions, even people that own their own businesses. We all have to take instructions from somewhere, or the product of their work will not be successful. And with supported employment, we sort of take it, and also with our paid internships, we take it the next step. Learn to ride public transportation. Some of our clients will say, oh, my mom will always take me to work. Okay, what happens when mom is sick? Then all of a sudden you can't go to work. That impacts your ability to be consistently, attend work consistently. So learn to ride public transportation or drive, or learn other ways. Take Uber if you need to, Access, Dial a Ride. There's so many options for getting around. Figure out how to do it without relying on the individual that's in your family or your friend, because they may not always be available for you. Learn how to be a team player and work with others cooperatively. Yes, people can be stubborn, and we can also teach individuals how to manage that themselves in the workplace. But the more we can practice working together, the better success there will be. Practice flexibility. Even though we want them to develop routines, we also need them to be flexible. Know that sometimes things change. And even if you need a moment to grasp and wrap your head around that change, know that there are going to be times when there is no option other than to be flexible and try to adapt to that change. And practice self-advocacy. I cannot speak enough about how much self-advocacy is important. Know what you want and what you don't want. We have people that say, oh, I just want a job, I'll do anything. And our first question is, do you want to clean toilets? And generally they go, not so much. Okay, then that's what you don't want. And that's okay. Let us know that. We want to know where your boundaries are and where your limits are, because we want to make sure that we find something that works for you. Success is in your hands. We're only a support provider. Without you and the family on board or the support team on board, the services will not be successful. We want you to accomplish your future goals, and we will do all that we can to help you get there. But we can't do it alone. We have to be partners in the journey. And hopefully at some point in the future, we will be able to work with you in that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ricky, for presenting your program. It sounds like Pleasant View Industries has a really comprehensive approach to community-based adult day programming. Did want to mention that we put both Ricky's and Cynthia's contact information in the chat. So for those of you who are interested in contacting them, please take down that information and contact them after the meeting at your leisure. Next up will be Cynthia Fernandez from Easter Seals, and she's going to share with us about their program.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you, North LA, for giving me the opportunity to present on behalf of Easter Seals. My name is Cynthia Fernandez, and I am the Director of Day Services for the North LA County area at Easter Seals. Our catchment area with North LA covers the San Fernando Valley as well as the Antelope Valley. We have two offices that serve the San Fernando Valley, one in Van Nuys and one in the city of Pacoima. In the Antelope Valley, we have a brand new site located in the city of Lancaster. And I'm sorry, I have a bit of a raspy voice today, but hopefully you guys can hear me clear, and otherwise do let me know. I want to start by talking a little bit about what our adult day services are. Through a very person-centered approach, adult day services offers individuals with developmental, physical, cognitive, or multiple disabilities the opportunity to become active members of their communities. Individuals learn independence and work-related skills by engaging in regularly scheduled volunteer work, community service projects, and other ventures. Individuals using the services may need supports and directions to interact with others and make their needs and choices known, and explore and engage in activities of their interest. All of our day services are community-based, and they do serve a purpose of community integration. We want to make sure that participants have the opportunities to be in the community and do other activities that anyone else would be able to do as you and I. When it comes to all of our services in day services, we focus on our person-centered culture and practice. What is person-centered? Person-centered culture and practices are the values and practices where people have the power to direct their day, futures, and life goals. It is supporting people to live a full life with dignity and respect. Easter Seals' person-centered philosophy focuses on the individuals we support and empowering them to direct their day-to-day activities, their future and long-term goals. Conversations about center practices start on day one. From the time we meet a participant and a family, we really talk about what do you choose to do? What do you want to do in the future? Whether it is to prepare yourself for employment, to prepare yourself to go back to school, to be able to develop social relationships, or to be able to work. Obviously the ultimate goal is for participants to work, but not all of them are ready right away. A lot of them need to go ahead and have a more of a whole person approach to discover what their goals and dreams are for the future. Conversations about person-centered practices do measure. Our services have adopted a POMS, which is a Standards of Personal Outcome Measures, as a person-centered discovery tool that explores the presence, the importance, and the achievement of personally defined outcomes, along with the supports that help people attain their individual goals and dreams. These tools include interviews with participants that cover a variety of topics, including choices of health, safety, social capital, relationships that they want to build, their rights, their employment, advocacy, and more. This internationally recognized tool has been an effective data seal for us to validate reliable measures for individuals' quality of life. All of our services, whether it is on our day services, on our supportive employment, on our living options, are based on person-centered cultures. Anytime a participant joins our services, we go through an interview process where we conduct a two-part interview, the first one being with the individual, and we discuss different points of their life, whether it is their social aspect, their ability to make connections in their lives, their friends, their family, what their goals are for the future, whether it's education, whether it's living more independently, whether it is being able to travel, or whether it is to pursue other opportunities that they choose to do. The second part of the interview is with their level of support, whether they live with a residential facility or whether they live with parents or family members, and how much they know about the participant's life and how they're willing to support them in their search for their future and seeking their independence. It is very important for us to make sure that we adhere to the person-centered philosophies, because we want to make sure that participants feel empowered to determine what their next step in their life is. Easter Seals, in an effort to go ahead and continue with this person-centered approach, has developed different layers of support within our day services. One of these layers of support is virtual community. Our virtual community was born during the pandemic, when most of us were found working from home and being in isolation. You know, initially this was just a transition, the stay-home order that was supposed to last 2 weeks. It got extended for a year, and for some individuals who are more medically fragile or may have compromised immune systems, it got extended even more. The birth and the development of the virtual community really assisted individuals that might have been isolated otherwise. And the development of the virtual community assisted us in carving out a centralized space to give participants a unique experience, to be able to create a balance for individuals and give them the opportunity to participate in hybrid services. What does this mean? This means that we have now given individuals a second option to receive a day services and to stay connected. Participants no longer have to go to an in-person line of support. They can also go ahead and connect with other people and be part of a community virtually. I know we all know that our industry has been highly impacted by staff shortage. Our ability to be able to support participants, whether it is through transportation, whether it is through finding qualified staff to be able to offer support, has also created an additional challenge for our industry. And this is also an effort to do so. But a lot of participants have been stranded at home because we're not able to meet the transportation needs for this individual. This is whether it's a vendor transportation or whether it's access. So we wanted to go ahead and develop a very strong virtual community where participants are able to engage on a day-to-day basis, accessing through the convenience of a desktop at home, the convenience of a laptop, or the convenience of or the convenience of having a phone. The accessibility, our services through the virtual community start from 8 to 2 on a day-to-day basis. And we have 45-minute classes from 8 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The classes have fun activities that may include karaoke, music, gaming, as well as meaningful and purposeful activities such as the Empower Hour, which is a time where participants get to practice self-advocacy and develop policies and review policies that Easter Seals is getting ready to roll out. We also have different workshops when it comes to healthy relationships, to bullying, to cybernet safety, CPR and first aid, and fun activities such as Zumba, such as arts and crafts and karaoke, live music, and other activities that participants choose. This community is definitely assigned to a group of associates to develop that familiarity with individuals, so participants are comfortable in that space as well. And we're able to support also individual support. We have breakout rooms and we have specific hours where individuals can come and just talk to one person or to a smaller group and be able to keep connected with their peers. Even now, as when participants are, have doctor's appointments or they're not able to make it to services, or they choose to work on a limited capacity, or they have a part-time job, but they don't want to let go of that connection that they had with day services, they're able to go ahead and keep that continuation of services through the virtual community. We have specialized workshops bi-weekly. We have resources that are available 24 hours, 7 days a week. We have a particular page for person-centered services that is full of resources and articles about advocacy, about activities that you can do in your local community. Our local calendars are updated, so participants also can have ideas on what to do on their own or with their families, as well as with their friends with Easter Seals. Our events last between 45 minutes to 9 minutes, and our website can be translated to 8 different languages, so it's accessible to participants in their language of choice. Currently, Spanish is the most popular language, and because this is a self-directed services, participants can choose to have any activities that they want to go ahead and propose. Whether it is when they talk about building up resumes and having a workshop on employment, or having a workshop on healthy relationships. We're able to invite community resources such as Regional Center, the Fire Department, the Red Cross, that have been able to provide different workshops, and have been able to extend the services, not only confined to the 50 participants that we serve our services at one location, but throughout the entire agency, we've been able to reach out to over 100 participants in one single session. Like I said, this offers a lot of accessibility for our participants. And along with this is our following program, which is the Technology Lending Library. Once again, during the pandemic, we were able to identify that an area that needed a high level of support was the discrepancy and the disparity and inequity of technology accessibility for our community. Participants or the individuals we support a lot of the times don't have the resources to own a device of their own. During the pandemic, Easter Seals was able to roll out iPads for each individual to be able to keep them connected through our virtual services and continue to receive services. But from that moment on, we also made a commitment to be able to offer technology and accessibility to everyone that qualifies for these services through North Lake County Regional Center. The partnership that we developed with Regional Center gives participants the opportunity to secure a device, whether it's a laptop, an iPad, or a JPad, which is a device that was specifically designed for individuals and participants who have a limited range of mobility. This device can be controlled remotely and be able to provide services for participants and launch activities of their choices. This program works through a referral process. So once we receive an assessment or a question or we find out that a family is in need of a technology device to help the participant with join day services, secure employment, continue education, then we highly recommend them to look into the Technology Lending Library and be able to reach out to their service coordinator to start the process. This program is also able to offer hotspots that provides internet connection to all families. And this is through the program, through the Angelina Technology Program, which is it came from the City of LA to be able to make sure that all participants or individuals we support have access to free internet services. To date, we serve over 500 individuals and their families. And as I mentioned, we have different devices depending on the initial assessment, where participants will receive a survey and complete a short survey to determine what is the use of the device for, whether it is to assess, to join the virtual community, whether it is to participate in day services, whether they need a laptop to go back to school, to facilitate school purposes, or to help them secure a job. We're fortunate enough that one of the positive outcomes of the pandemic is that we are able to now find more remote jobs. So a lot of individuals have been able to take advantage of having an equipment to be able to have that as an option down the line as well. So we currently do have a partnership with North LA County Regional Center to continue to carry on with the technology lending library. And this is also an option for participants through our day services. What do we offer? What opportunities do we offer in our adult day services? First and foremost, self-advocacy through person-centered planning. Once again, we bring it up to the participant. Although work is a priority for all of us, for Regional Center and for all the agencies in our industry, we do know that we do support individuals that need something after high school, that we're able to reinforce, to help them discover what's the next chapter in their lives, whether it is education, whether it is employment, whether it is seeking living independently. We've been able to go ahead and do this through person-centered planning. Nowadays, we have had so many successful stories from participants who have been able to be through day services, be able to complete this interviews process, and be able to find positive outcomes for them for dreams and goals that may have not been secured or acknowledged if we wouldn't have had these tools available for them. We have had participants who have easily transitioned to employment. At times, we are able to support employment through our one-on-one supports. We're able to refer participants out to the proper agency so they can continue their journey towards employment. For other participants, it's been as meaningful as being able to identify that their passion is to be able to go to a culinary school. They are so passionate about cooking and learning how to cook, and they've been able to finally successfully transition into enrolling in culinary schools. Other participants have been able to say, I don't want to leave at home anymore, and I don't know how to have this conversation with my parents. And we've been able to facilitate those conversations. They're not easy. A lot of them can be very complex and challenging, but we are able to support participants in having those conversations and still and initiate a plan on how to transition and live independently. For a lot of our individuals, it has been as basic as, I want to have a relationship. Yet my mom doesn't think that I can have a girlfriend or that I can go out with my friends on my own. So we've been able to build bridges to communicate with families and to educate them and to have the person in the forefront say, this is what we talk about when we mention quality of life. Quality of life is not just like, okay, I need to wake up at 8 o'clock, go to the program, come back at 2 o'clock, and then have dinner and then go home and do everything all over again. No, we really want to focus about what participants want to do, what they choose to do on a day-to-day basis. For a lot of them, it's going to be hanging out with their friends. From a lot of them, it's going to be catching up through social media or catching up. Let's get together to watch a movie and just watch Netflix together. For some of them, it's like, let's go have a cup of coffee at Starbucks, and that's okay. So a lot of the services that we provide want to focus on teaching participants and supporting participants how we can have these relationships as adults, how we assume the responsibilities and the privileges and the consequences of our decision making. Our day services focuses on self-advocacy. It will also focus on vocational skill development. We do partner up with other nonprofit organizations in an effort for participants to seek volunteer opportunities if they choose to do so. We develop a lot of strong social skills through the virtual community and in person. Participants host their own advocacy groups. And out of those advocacy groups, we have had strong leaders that have come out and developed that are carrying out their advocacy levels even in Sacramento, advocating for our policymakers to continue to support our services here in the front lines. We talk a lot about health and wellness. We also talk about how to access the community resources. Whether it is learning how to use rideshare safely, learning how to use our resources, how to do online shopping, how to be able to handle emergency situations, whether there is an earthquake, how to use public transportation. For a lot of individuals, how to talk about personal care. We do support a high population of individuals who require a high and intensive level of support because of their mobility issues or their personal care issues. So all of that is also part of their person-centered planning. How is this addressed not only at home, but also in the community and in day services, and how we can advocate to prevent from this being a barrier for us to talk about going back to school, or when we talk about going back to employment. How would we be able to support an individual that also has these challenges in that setting? Another focus is money skills, to be able to inform participants that they are empowered to handle their own money. The majority of the individuals we support don't have access to their own income, and they don't have a say in how they manage that income. And that's part of being an adult. That's part of being an independent person. So we definitely have those conversations that lead to open conversations with their families, with their support system, so we can seek for the level of independence and continue to take steps moving forward. The entrance criteria for our services is being 18 years or older and a completion of secondary education. The need to gain skills and to increase in their independence. We support participants who are ambulatory and non-ambulatory. Our services have different ranges of ratio support, the main one being a 1-to-3 support. So for every 1 staff, we have 3 participants. We also do offer ratio supports of a 1-to-2 and a 1-on-1, depending on the participants' goals and projects, for participants who want to seek employment, or for participants who want to seek education, or for individuals who may need a higher level of support. Then we have a 1-on-1 available that can be individualized to the line of service of the participant in question. Participants need to be able to adhere to a prescribed medical regimen and be able to manage their prescriptions for medical care on their own. The extra criteria for participants: individuals leave our services when they are no longer interested in receiving our services, when they no longer need it, or when they're no longer eligible, whether it is because of safety concerns, or whether it is because they're ready to transition to another program, or because they're pursuing education, or they're having they're taking other steps to meet their goals in the future. As you can see, all of our services are really focused on community participation, being an active member of the community, being able to access the services that you and I would be able to access, being able to use your own voice to determine what your goals and your futures will be, and for you to be the driver of your life. So I hope all this information was helpful. My name is Cynthia Fernandez. I'm the Director of Adult Day Services with Easter Seals, and please feel free to reach out to me with any questions, or if I can provide any additional information for you, I'll be glad to do so.
Thank you for that wonderful presentation, Cynthia. Thank you for telling us about Easter Seals' person-centered plan and the integration of technology that you have brought to our system.